with slow release energy to keep you going. Weetabix.
Precisely. Whoa, this is heavy.
Tonight, in a very special indoor season.
Can you hear me, everybody? Let me know if I have set this all up okay.
Orla Gartland sits down for an exclusive one-on-one interview with...
I'm going to do a Freckle Season deep dive.
Orla Gartland.
So we're going to do a listening party, and I'm going to go in depth into all 5 tracks on Freckle Season. I'm going to try and see if I can dig out some recording footage. I'm going to try and dig out some older demos, voice memos, and just string together a little story around each one. What's up? Hello everyone. How's it going? Hopefully you can hear me. Welcome to a very special episode. Kind of sexy lighting in here right now. Let me know if you can hear me. That intro was not made by me. I take no credit. It was made by Joshua from my Secret Demo Club. I think he did an amazing job. He's been making the intros for all of these shows, and it was a treat to be able to hear him on that one. Those are dulcet Aussie tones. Amazing. So huge shout out to Josh for the intros. Amazing. Okay, cool. It looks like everything's working. You'll be glad to know I invested in an Ethernet cable just for you because my Wi-Fi failed me last time in a big way. Amazing. Is it true that my dad is on the chat again? If so, hello. So, how do I follow up an intro like that? I think I just peaked in the first 5 minutes of the show. So I've been doing these shows for the last couple weeks. Hopefully they've been a good source of distraction for you. They've definitely been a good focus for me. I've been playing all sorts of old songs. I'm talking songs I haven't played in 4, 5, 6 years. Songs that it's been so long for some of them, I feel like I'm covering them. Anyway, I've done 5 shows, I've taken requests, I've done a mix of old ones, new ones, unheard ones that even the Secret Demo Club hadn't heard. And it's been pretty good. It's been a good reflection on me, of where I've come from. Really interesting for me to hear where I've been, a big reminder of where I still want to go musically. But one thing is that it's weird looking backwards all the time. And so this whole episode, this whole show, this whole tour, I guess I'm on tour still, right? I keep forgetting that. So we're in Paris today. Where have I been? Where haven't I been? Moscow, LA, Paris. It's almost like I just picked random places that were in different time zones. Sydney. Anyway, today's technically Paris, but what this show is all about is about... Whoa. Eeks. What this show is all about is about my Freckle Season EP. It's my EP I released in February 2020. What a weird year. Imagine I released it a month later. I've been releasing it to a very different kind of world. But like many artists, I can't tour right now, and I feel a little robbed of the chance to play these songs live while they're still fresh in my mind. So instead of playing them live, I'm giving you this show, which is less of a live show and more of a TED Talk about these songs. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to play you some footage that no one's ever seen of us recording in the studio. I'm going to go through some old versions of the songs. I'm going to open up the projects to actually show you what's going on in some of the songs, which is really exciting. And we're just going to do a big deep dive. I'm going to take questions. We're going to do prizes. It's going to be a whole thing. So I'm going to assume it's all working. I don't see any comments hassling me about the sound, so I'm going to assume it's all good. Wicked. Okay, so let's bring you down here. So let's go to this screen. Fantastic. I've cleaned up my desktop so that no one could judge me. And in this folder are a bunch of things I want to go through for each song. So let's just start. Let's just go through it one by one. Some of the things, just to tease you, I've got a video to play at some point from my MD, Pete. Huge shout out to Pete. He's my bass player. He's my MD, which is my musical director. And he's done a video speaking a little bit about these tracks and how we brought them to life on stage. So that's going to happen about midway through the show. I'll play that out. That's a treat. Fantastic. Okay, let's just go for this. So the first song that I'm going to go through is track 1 of Freckle Season, and it's called Did It To Myself. I was in a bit of a weird place, I would say, when I do I need these headphones? Yeah. I was in a bit of a weird place, I'd say, when I wrote this music, and I hadn't written anything for months before because I'd been on tour, both by myself and with my friend Dodie, and I desperately needed to just churn some songs out. I had so much I wanted to say, I was feeling everything, and I wasn't putting it anywhere. So I did this thing. It was called An Idea a Day for the month of May. And anyone that follows me on Patreon, on my Secret Demo Club, will be familiar with this if you followed me on there last year. It was basically just a way of saying I really need to do a lot of writing and I really need to not be precious about it. So instead of spending days stressing over a verse, which I really can do, I decided I was going to quickly write and be very dynamic and very quick about how I did it. And so that was the idea of this challenge last May, was to just not be precious, not overthink. Very on brand for me. So what I did was this on my Patreon. I churned out these ideas. They weren't finished. They sometimes were like 30 seconds long. Sometimes it was just an A part and a B part, and that was it. And it was just chuck them up, upload, don't think about it, on to the next one. That was the idea of this. So Did It To Myself was born from one of these. It was born from May 1st on the Idea Day for the month of May challenge. And I put it up on my Patreon and stuff, and it sounded like this. I woke up to an empty bed and took a walk to clear my head. I wished you were there instead, but then I shook it off. What the hell did I used to do? I'm even starting to speak like you, and now you're living in my memory, you're living in my mouth, living in the 4 fucking walls of my house. I feel like a letdown to not be your friend now. No, I feel like a letdown. Now you're gone. I know I did it to myself. 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 Did it to myself. Did it to myself. I know I did it to myself. I know I did it to myself. So yeah, that's what we were faced with. That's what I got on May 1st of this challenge was that. And I remember feeling good about it. I remember feeling something about it. And in hindsight, there was something cool about it happening on May 1st and then choosing it as the first track of the EP because it opens with the line, I woke up to an empty bed, it's a breakup EP. I never thought I'd write about a breakup in this way. I always thought, why are there so many songs about breakups? Surely it can't be that bad. Surely there's nothing I could say that could rephrase any of this in a new way. And I thought that because I'd never really been through one before. And then I went through one and I felt everything all at once. And so this was that. It was just not being able to sleep. It was just total sadness. And in this case, realizing that I did it to myself. So, oh, brilliant. There's a random notification from something I didn't sign up to get notifications from. So that's where I was at. And I felt good about it. But like I said, I was moving on from one idea to the next. It didn't feel like I was meant to dwell on any of this stuff. I was just meant to get through it. And actually, I only made it to day 14 of this challenge because I had to go to Romania for a writing camp. Random. random story, sounds made up. So I only got to day 14, but I got 14 ideas, and actually I went back and listened through to these today because I was trying to find all this stuff for you, and there are some solid ideas in there, but I'm feeling all manner of things. I'm feeling all shade of emotion that month, and I knew that's why I needed to write. So that's where I was at, and then I took it into Tom. I saved a picture of Tom for you because he's a crucial part of this EP and a crucial part of this story. So this is Tom and me with much shorter hair. Tom is my co-producer. Tom and I made this whole EP together, and he is the perfect puzzle piece to my creative process. He's an absolute dude. He's good at Mario Kart, but he's really great at producing. And more importantly, apart from just being a good hang, he is exceptionally good at all the things that I'm not so good at. He's very methodical in his approach to production, and I think he'd say it himself, pretty geeky. So it allows me to come in with demos in this form, pretty rough. It's only a minute long. I think I've got something here. I'll write another verse, like bring that in, and he's able to go, keep that, don't keep that, let's re-record that, but let's keep that. And I'm able to come in and speak in this like broad language, you know. I'm able to come in and someone said you look drunk. I mean, I am drunk in that picture. It's my birthday party, so. But it allows me to come into the studio with Tom and speak in these really broad, you know, strokes and say, I just want it to sound bigger or more cinematic or more angry or more purple. And it's Tom who, at this point, we've got such a synergy that he's able to be like, I know exactly how to turn your vague, sometimes vague thought into an actual thing. And I think that's a pretty huge skill. Also, Tom is pretty much the very, you know, one of the only producers I've ever worked with that really makes me feel like my own production ideas are valued. I worked with a string of people when I was younger who really made me feel like it wasn't my job to get involved with the production. I was just meant to sit over there and do the vocal and let them at it. And actually, I love production. I love the nitty gritty of it. I love guitar tones and drum samples, and just building a sonic landscape from scratch is such an exciting thing to me, and I don't feel like tech is something that comes that naturally to me, but I love it and I love being involved. It just fills me up to really understand it all. So Tom was really one of the first producers who was like, no, let's take the thing that you've recorded at home and let's like start with that and actually use that. Let's not discard it. And I just found that so encouraging and cool. So I put together a couple clips of us recording this song. Where is it? Here we go. This was my very first time having drums on anything. I'd only ever had programmed drums. So in other words, samples arranged but played in electronically, or arranged electronically but not played. This is the very first time I ever had drums on my song, and you can see in this video how excited I'm getting.
That was mad!
That's so sick. You're so far away from that. So there we have it. That was a little clip of Did It To Myself. I think one of my favorite moments of this song musically is the middle eight, or the bridge, whatever we call it. So it goes, oh my God, you're everything I know. Let it sink in right now. Oh my God, you're everything I know. Get ready for the come down. Minor the first time, major the second time. I don't know why, I just like find that really fun. so that was song number 1, and it felt like a good place to start. It was the first one that Tom and I recorded. It was the first one I wrote in this little May challenge I put together for myself, and it worked well live. And I was worried about it live, honestly, because the chorus is so reliant on that big stack of harmonies above and below mine. Like, I'm only one voice. Am I going to be able to pull it off? And actually, it helped that everyone sang along with me. Yeah, so that's did it to myself. I'm going to mention at this point, let's see if I can find this. Let's go back here. There are some prizes to be run. There are some prizes to be won throughout this show. It's something I've been doing on the last couple of these live shows. But the prizes today are all freckle season themed. We do a very silly thing where you can win them. We put them in cereal boxes. The guys have been here before. They know. So let me just go and get these cereal boxes. You know when you do something over and over and over again and you just forget that it's extremely weird? I think this cereal box is kind of... This whole thing has become like that for me. So I'm going to show you 3 prizes that you can win throughout the live show today. And how you enter is you just tip me on PayPal. You can give me any amount if you want. It can be 5p. But if you do want to give more, I am saving for the next EP or album, whatever it is. I want to do a full length now. I have big ambitions for the next year, especially when all of this is over with. And at the moment, I am self-funding everything. So if you want to tip me, it's going to a good place. It's going to me making more music for you. Let me show you the prizes. So, annoyingly, I asked my merch store to send me a t-shirt that I was going to put in one of these boxes, but it didn't come on time because the post is being strange. So that is what the t-shirt you can win looks like. It is an illustration by an amazing artist called Coach McKenniff, and it says freckle season in the middle. It's got my name. It's a very beautiful thing, and it's a white. Who doesn't love a white t-shirt? It's a classic. So, even though I don't actually have the t-shirt, here we go. If you get this in your box, you win the t-shirt and a print, which is the same design as the t-shirt. And I will write on the back of it for you. I will draw something if you want. I'll do whatever you like. So that's prize number 1. The second one is also, it's going to be a print, but I'm going to, more importantly, give you this, which is the broken heart stamp that I've used on so much of this artwork. Let me see if I can just pull up something. Have I got the actual artwork here somewhere? Oh, no. That would be way too organized of me. The Freckles season artwork and a bunch of other things to do with this EP had a red broken heart stamp, and this is the actual stamp that I got made up for your faces. It was on people's faces at my London Scala show. I'll show you some pictures of that later. And yeah, it's a custom thing designed by my friend Demi, who is just across the visuals on this whole EP. So that's prize number 2. You get to keep the stamp and you get the print. And number 3, I think is pretty good. The third prize is not just the Freckle Season EP, but the Why Am I Like This EP from 2019. Is it going to focus? Maybe not. Looks like that. And interestingly, the Lonely People EP from 2015. This is my copy. I'm giving you my only copy. It's a little bit scuffed, but the CD is perfect, and it's yours. You can't get this anywhere else. So the third prize, all 3 EPs. So to recap, first prize is the t-shirt and the print. The second prize is the stamp and the print. And the third prize is all 3 EPs. Again, I'll scribble on them if you want to. So this is where it gets weird. I'm going to scramble these up in these 3 cereal boxes. I remember from last time not to let you see me do this, so just do that for a second. This is so strange, and yet completely normal. Okay, so I've scrambled them. I'll put them behind me. Can you see that? And then later in the show, we'll pick some people out of anyone that tips. Oh, I've conveniently put my logo in the perfect place. Anyway, we'll come back, and how I will do it is I'll just flick through my PayPal email and pick someone that went through the show. So we'll go through another song, and then we'll come back to that. How does that sound? Someone said, how do I donate? The link is in the description of this YouTube live show. Remember, it can be any amount. It doesn't matter. But that's how you enter. Wicked. Okay, cool. Let's crack on to track number 2 of this whole crazy thing. This crazy little deep dive that we're doing. So, Figure It Out is a song that I'm very proud of. It's angry. And I think that's exactly what I wanted to achieve from this EP. I wanted, across all 5 songs, to hit on everything I felt in the midst of this breakup. Every shade of everything. I'm talking anger, denial, disappointment, extreme sadness, nostalgia, all the things. That's what I wanted it to sound like. And I wanted it not to sound like this is the sad song, this is the angry song, this is the whatever. I wanted it to jump dynamically within these songs. I wanted it to feel erratic. I wanted it to feel unhinged, because I felt unhinged. So I think that was a huge part of realizing what these EP tracks were going to be. And I think we figured out, in particular, I wanted it to be these verses that were like here. And then I wanted it to be these chorus that were like, ah! Right? I wanted it to be small. I wanted it to be small at the beginning. I wanted it to be like, I wanted it to be intimate. I wanted it to be speaking right in your ear. And doing all this stuff, and I see your name light up on my phone. Right? It's right in your ear. It's right good, and then it's gonna be like, ah, whoa, whoa. Oh, I know I never said it, but I thought that you'd think of it. You know, just shouting. We're not whispering at that point. It's just like here, and then it's like here, and it doesn't really do much in between, which I like. It's not like, here's the verses and we're building in the pre and it's getting there. It sort of takes you by surprise, which I think can make some of these EP tracks honestly an uncomfortable listen in a way that I kind of like. I wanted that extreme jumping and extreme dynamic between highs and lows to be very, very palpable when you listen through. And I think this song, on unlocking this one and getting this one in the bag, made me think of all the rest of the songs in a different way. So this song it's the only co-write on the EP. I wrote it with Tom, who I mentioned earlier. We started it in the room together. I brought in the verses, I think, and I knew what I wanted it to be about, which was just not having the heart to tell someone to give you space. I was angry, and I brought in this idea, and I knew I wanted it to jump in the chorus, and we fleshed it out together. So I'm going to start by playing you the very first sketch that we got from the first day that we worked on this song. And I actually think out of all the EP tracks, this one stays truest to form throughout. I think I listened to this first sketch. I'll just play you a verse and chorus, but you'll hear I really don't feel like it is that different, which is interesting. So yeah, here's the very first day on Figure It Out. I know I never said it. I'd really like to not get it in there. Can I just... Oh, no, whatever you do, don't do that. I would just like to play it like this. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, here it is. I know I never said it, but I thought that you'd figure it. I see your name light up on my phone. I feel a little differently about you than I did not long ago. You drank too much beer and you got afraid. You don't remember typing in my number. I say it's okay. It's not okay. New Year's Eve, I'll see you there. Rotate around the room on different planets. I say I don't care, but but I care. And I never say it, but I fucking hate it. You ask if I mind, and you're right there. Oh, it's not fair. I know I never said it, but I thought that you'd figure it out. So, yeah, you can see what I mean. I feel like we knew what it was even at that point, even if it didn't sound like the best version of what it could be. I think we knew it was like small verses, reflective, slightly floaty pre-chorus, and then a chorus that's like bam. So I think, yeah, I remember leaving the studio day with Tom and being really happy about how it felt and where it sat, and more importantly the emotion it sort of hit on. I felt like I was thinking of emotions for this EP and just like trying to hit them and tick them off. In terms of anger, this one was doing the trick for me. Oh, someone said we can't hear you, love. Is that true? I don't feel like that's true. I love everyone's like slightly sarky language. Everyone was saying that to me last time. They were like, your Wi-Fi's not working, sweetie. I was like, sweetie. Can you hear me? I'm going to assume that you can because it looks like it's coming through on my thing. So yeah, that sounds like that newsreader. Has anyone ever seen that clip of that newsreader that sort of loses her mind? We can hear you. Fake news from whoever that was. Anyway, I feel like that newsreader who like starts to basically speak complete nonsense. So your microphone's a bit low. Well, we can fix that. How's that? A little better. Okay, cool. So that's what we left it with. I felt it was good. I felt it was angry. I felt it was going to be good live. And I felt really, I think the mission with this on a musical level was making everything the best version of itself it could be. And that's the beauty of realizing a song and getting it to a point where you think you know where you want it to sit. Then you're like, well, we've got the drum part down, but let's make the drums sound better. And we've got the guitar part down, but let's get the tone better. And I think that was our mission with this, again, was just trying to make it the best, make it a much more enhanced version of the demo while still keeping the essence of that. And I think there are a lot of stuff from this first sketch that we kept. Pretty sure there's that snare little weird, the snare sample in the verse, that's definitely still there. And I think all the fundamentals really in the structure were the same. Someone said it's hard to hear you over the track. Oh, it's fine. You don't need to be able to hear me at the same time as the track. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's where we were. And did I put anything else for you? Oh yeah. So here's a little bit of studio footage from Figure It Out. Let's have a look at this. Oh yeah. So a little precursor to this. This is just a short clip, and right at the end of Figure It Out, there's a little bit. And it goes, it's not hard to read my mind when I'm making it so obvious. Oh, it's not hard to read my mind when I'm making it so obvious. Right? Does that a couple times. Now, we wanted it to feel like a children's choir. It was just an idea that we got towards the end. I didn't want it to just be my voice. I didn't want it to just be me double-tracked a bunch of times. I wanted it to be like young, slightly shrill voices, something that would cut across the track a little bit more. And so Tom, being the absolute G that he is, decided that we should vary speed, record them in. So in other words, record us singing, it's not hard to read by... Right, record it super slow, and then you take that audio, speed it back up to the original speed. The pitch stays the same, but the format changes, so it sounds really shrill and shrieky like this. And so the clip I'm about to play is the isolated children's choir at the end. It's just me and Tom, and what it sounds like on its own. I think this is so funny.
It's not hard to read my mind when I'm making it so obvious.
It's a kid's choir.
It's so cute.
It's a little kid's choir.
It's so cute. Right? Isn't that the most bootleg children's choir you ever heard in your life? So yeah, that was that one. And again, we recorded drums on the same day as we did it with Did It To Myself, and Oh God. It was all by a drummer called David Dyson in London. And I was really happy with how it turned out. I feel like it was a song I wanted to get out of my system for a long time, almost without knowing it. And I don't know if any other musicians can kind of relate to that, but I didn't really know I needed this song until it existed, and then I really felt like I did, you know. It's a real crutch in the live set. It's something different. And also kind of the first time I started experimenting with writing in a time signature other than 4/4. Yeah, this song was in 6/8, which means it's got 6 beats in the bar. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By far the most common tempo for all things pop is just 4/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can count most things in 4. But the beauty of a song like this, and it happened again with Oh God, which I'll speak about in a bit. The beauty about this is I really, I don't try and like make things interesting musically, because I don't feel like I like that in music that I listen to. I don't want people to be athletic with their musicianship. Like, I don't really like people who show off or try to make things interesting just for the sake of it. But that's kind of, even though it's just something as simple as like a time signature, and it's by far the second most common time signature that you could write in, even just a little difference like that, a little difference in groove, a little difference to how you think about the drums, was enough to keep it really interesting for me, while still feeling like it was the right thing. You know what I mean? Like the right fit for the song, not just something that was kind of crowbarred in. It had to be in that. It couldn't be in 4/4. It had to be in 6/8. So that was a fun thing about that. And yeah, I think that's all I have to tell you about Figure It Out. Why don't we do a couple questions? I'll just pull a couple out of the chat. If anyone has questions about either Did It To Myself or Figure It Out, fire them at me and I'll try to take a couple. Question, do you record your electric direct in or through an amp with a mic? We usually do both. We usually take a direct in and take one from the mic. That way you got control. But most of the guitars on this EP were recorded through Tom's amp in his studio. How much did you spend on stamps? I feel attacked. Way too much. Honestly, way too much. Honestly, upwards of £100 on custom stamps. It's totally pathetic. If you had to rewrite Figure It Out, what would it be about now? I probably wouldn't write it again now because I don't feel those things. But at the time, yeah, it felt very real. Yeah, it's literally about me being, honestly, too much of a wuss. One thing that it sort of irks me, and someone pointed out to me once, and they were totally right. That whole idea of like, well, this is what women say, but this is what women want. It's very gendered and traditional and silly. It's very, men are from Venus, women are from Mars type thinking. But I do feel like I enforce this idea just a little bit in this song because I'm saying I don't care, but I do care. And it's okay, but it's not okay. And that's honestly the whole vibe of this song, is me just not being brave or even ready enough to tell the person that I so desperately needed space. And so I was just hoping that they would figure it out. Where did the serial music come from? I think it's a Mario theme. What's your home studio setup? I'll do a proper video on this someday, but I'll give you a little go at the moment. I have this thing. This is my interface. Is it gonna focus? No, it's definitely not. I'll give you a little bit of wipe. You gonna focus for me? No? There we go. Everything comes in through this. It's a duet. It's by a company called Apogee. This is my mic at home. It's by a company called Aston. It's called the Aston Origin. Although I also have a Shure SM7, which I prefer for vocals at the moment. This mic arm, as you all know, I'm obsessed with. It's a tenner on Amazon. Just type in mic clamp and you'll never buy a mic stand in your life again. This is a Roland R64 keyboard. They're discontinued. I don't know why. It's the best thing ever. That's a Freshman acoustic. I have a bunch of other things. I'll do a proper video on this at some point, but I feel the heart of my home setup is this duet, and I've I think it's great. Super simple, easy to use, not too expensive. Would you ever release a vinyl? That's a good one. And in fact, I'm not going to give you a straight answer, but I will say that one is in the works. Why did you choose them to be the first singles? It sounds very basic, but they were just written in that order, and I think that was why they felt right. They were just written one after the other. They felt like they were sort of sister songs, angry vibes between them both, but a little bit different in groove, different in feel, different in emotion, but not a million miles away. So yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do one or two more questions. What's your favorite part of constructing a song? Good question. My favorite part, there's just nothing as fun as the first day or the first hour or the first little seed of something and how exciting it is at that point. I think the more and more time you spend on something, it's harder and harder to feel excited about it again. And so just, writing something and leaving the studio with it that day and making sure that you bounce it out as soon as you leave because you want to listen to it on the tube and you're just like obsessed with it. And I never get like that with my release music because by the time it's out there, I've lived with it for too long. It's not mine anymore. It's just out there. It's yours. But when you have something and you've just worked on it for one day by yourself or with someone else, it's not everyone else's. It's just yours. It feels so personal and it's so precious. Even if it's not the best idea in the world, it just doesn't matter. It's so exciting making something from scratch. So yeah, it's a little vague, but that's my answer. Just the very first bit, the very first time a melody matches up with the chords, the very first time a melody matches up with the lyrics, and you're just like, yes. All right, let's do one more. Do you ever worry that the person you wrote a song about will hear it and realize? Yes, and I'm going to speak in great detail about this later. I talk about this a lot with friends of mine who are musicians. What's the code of conduct? What are the ethics of songwriting? Should you make things intentionally vague to protect people? And I'm undecided, but you can probably tell from this EP that I decided not to censor myself or any details. But I do sometimes feel a huge guilt about that. I don't regret releasing the songs. I don't regret being as honest as I was, but yes, I do feel the guilt sometimes, but I have to remind myself that it is music. It is just music. I think people who are friends with songwriters or who are songwriters know that there's always an element of exaggeration in these things. There has to be, to increase the drama. So I'd like to think that the person who these songs are about understands that as well. And also I appreciate honesty and vulnerability in the songs that I listen to, as from the artists that I'm a fan of, and so I want to be able to deliver that in my own way, or else I'm not being true to myself. All right, that's question time over with for now. Before we move on to the third song, which is Heavy, I'm going to play you a very special video. The very wonderful Pete Danes, my MD, musical director, king of all things live in the Orla show. Some of you know him, some of you fancy him. We all fancy him, let's be honest. He's put together a little video for us, and it's just a couple minutes of him glossing over how we bring these songs to life on stage. Recording in a studio, all these things I'm talking about here, is such a different set of skills to playing live, and it's certainly a different skill set I've had to harbor over the years. So Pete is an absolute master at this point of just taking the thing, bringing it to stage, making it different if it wants to be, staying true to itself if it wants to be, putting together live shows with an interesting set list that just flows, transition pieces between them. He's thinking of almost the choreography of it, not that we're dancing, but he's thinking of like where everyone is at this point. Is he on the riser? Is he on the front of the stage? Is he over by the drummer? Like, he's thinking in such broad terms about these shows, and it's like honestly inspiring to work with him on both my show and on Dodie's show. He's also Dodie's MD. He's honestly an absolute dude and one of the most important people I've met in my time in London in terms of enhancing my project and my own musicianship. So huge shout out to Pete. I'm going to leave you with this video for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to crack on, and we're going to keep talking about the EP. So please enjoy this video. Let me mute myself from Pete Danes.
I'm Pete, I'm Orla's bass player and musical director, and today we're going to have a little look into a couple of the Ableton sessions that we use on our live show, just to get an idea and hopefully give you an idea of what happens behind the scenes. We're going to jump into Figure It Out. So this is it's just a quick rundown of what Ableton is if you've never used it before. We have all of our tracks on this side, so they're all named and all color coded, very nice. And we have all of the audio here. I'm going to take out all of the programmed elements and play just the live parts. So taking away all the with all of the smoke and mirrors thrown in, it sounds like this. You can hear the difference. So one thing I really like to do, especially in this track, is for me the guitar is like really thick. So what we do is we'll take guitars from the record and double track them, if you will, against Orla's live guitar. So what double tracking means is it's a recording technique that means that when you track something, you double it on top of it, and it just makes it sound twice as big, essentially. So what we do is we get the guitar from the record, which is really cool and really stereo-y and really wide, and we put it with Orla's guitar, which sounds like this. Oh. And together it sounds like this. In context with the song. Orla's a great guitarist, so she'll play the part that is exactly required, and so then the double track will just sit on top of it really nicely. Width and depth and fatness. The other thing we use is triggers on the drum kits to fire out other samples. So here in this section we have a snare trigger which sounds like this. So this fires out every time Sarah hits her snare drum. Let's jump into another session. Up the sesh, loading up the motherfucking sesh. One more really interesting way I think that we use Ableton, which for me is the most musical way you can get it to do what you want and almost treat it like another musician rather than a computer that's just playing backing tracks. So the song starts like this.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So this is the start of the song. We've got the click track running, and then Sarah's now playing the loops. Now, what this means is that Orla can start the song at any time she wants. She can pick up guitar, she can get a glass of water, she can say something to the crowd, she can do what she wants. But it means that we're not having to be like, okay, the song is starting now. So, imagine this, right? So, she starts the song whenever she wants.
Woke up to an empty bed.
I
took a walk to clear my head. I wished you were there instead, but then I shook it off.
So we want the next part of the track to start, right? So what I have is I have a little marker here, and this button right here is programmed to a pad that I will hit on stage. So I took a walk to clear my head, and then I shook it off. Hit the pad.
Things to do. I'm even starting to speak like you.
What that allows us to do is essentially have open-ended jam sections, have open-ended sections where she can talk to the crowd, have open-ended sections that take either as long or as short as they want. Having something that you're not tied to, really useful. So I hope you can see that using what we're doing as the main bulk for everything and just sprinkling a bit of magic on top. So yeah, that's kind of my approach to it. I hope some of that made sense, and yeah. See you soon.
Oh, baby. That man. He gets me right there. Pete Danes, everybody. I think someone put in his Instagram handle in the chat there. I think it's Pete D Bass. Pete Danes. He is a master, and I feel very lucky to to have him involved in my project. There's nothing like being on stage, something's gone wrong, something's plugged itself out, someone's fainted in the crowd of a Dodie gig, something's happened, and there's nothing like just, looking to my left and there's Pete. We've traveled the world together, we've seen it all, we've rehearsed in the tiniest, cramped, most sweaty rehearsal rooms you've ever been in your life, and we've done it all together. So that's Pete. I hope you found that interesting. I definitely did. I understand some of this Ableton stuff might go over a few of your heads. Most of it goes over mine as well. But hopefully it's just interesting to get a little brief look into how this stuff translates live, because it's like a completely different world, all of this writing and recording stuff. A world of which Pete is the mayor, the wizard, the king. You know what I mean? He's great. I saw that my dad's on the chat and said that he fancied Pete, which is exceptional. Hey, Dad. Amazing. Right, let's break this up now with some absolute nonsense. It's time to pick the first cereal box prize winner. So, do we know how this works? I'll explain for any newbies. What we'll do is we'll pick a cereal box. The prizes are divided up in here. You have no way of knowing which is in which one. And I'm just going to ask you in the chat right now to type in either Weetabix, Crisp, or Blueberry. And I'm going to just visually decide the winner based on what you type. And then we're going to pick a winner out of everyone who has entered. There's a definite lead for the Bix. Let's do it. I feel like when I think about, when all this lockdown is over and I think about this weird time of life and I close my eyes and I think, what was lockdown life like for me? And I'm going to picture myself with those 3 cereal boxes just sort of sitting there. Okay, cool. Let's pick a winner. Whoever wins is going to get the prize that's in that box. I'm going into my PayPal email now. If you've entered... This is the least scientific way to pick anyone, I admit, but I think it's pretty fair because there's, you can just see me scrolling in this strange way. Okay, let's do it, guys. Let's get this back on. Okay, gonna pick someone. Whoop. The winner is Andreas Jakobsen, perhaps? Let me type your name in the chat. Oh, sorry, I'm peeking. Andreas, here you go, my friend. Here's your name. It's spelt. Oh, there we go. That's not at all what I meant to do. Andreas, I'm going to say Jakobsen. Feels like one of those kind of J's. You are the winner, my friend, of whatever's in this cereal box. I will contact you on your PayPal email address after the show to sort out sending it to you. It might be a little while before you get it because the post is weird right now. But imagine joining a stream for the first time. Honestly, if you join while I'm mid just like holding the cereal boxes, welcome. Okay, you, my friend, have won the Triple EP Bonanza. You have won the Freckle Season and the Why Am I Like This and the Lonely People EP as well, and I will send them to you and they will be yours, and you can have the Weetabix box. I've promised it to a few people at this point, but you can have it. Okay, cool. If you want to get involved, there's 2 more prizes to win throughout the show. You can donate on my PayPal. Like I said, it can be any amount, but any amount that is raised goes towards my next musical project, so it's all very much appreciated. Congratulations, my friends. Okay, cool. Wicked. Absolute nonsense through and through. Just while we're talking about live stuff, I want to give a little shout out to some other huge players in my live team. Connor Cosimini is my front of house engineer. He takes the recordings and tries to emulate it live. So if there's a point in the recording where the guitar is super driven and distorted and we're not able to quite get it on stage and we've driven it but not enough, he can do a lot in front of house, and when you go to a gig, it's the person at the front of house desk. You always see them, the dudes or the gals. They got their little desk there, and they're usually at the back of the room. You might not even see them if it's a bigger venue, and they're mixing the sound that's coming at you, and so they're pretty imperative to your experience, I guess. And every single time, my dad in particular loves Connor's mixing, but I've got endless compliments on his behalf for the work that he does on my live shows. He always makes it sound amazing. So shout out to Connor, and shout out to Sarah, who is my drummer and is so sick. She has a band called the Pearl Hearts, and she is super kick-ass rocky, just a legend. She's so heavy in her playing and so headbangy and brilliant. And I think knowing that I would have her for this tour that we did at the end of November was a huge boost for me, wanting to write stuff that was like a little bit grittier. Before I move on to the next song, I'm gonna very quickly show you a clip of a video you might see, and it's figured out from my London show in Scala, and you'll see Pete and Sarah in action here, in their best form.
More than just jaded. You ask if I mind, then you're right there. No, it's not fair.
Look at them go. Look at them go. That was from my Scala show last November, and it was filmed by my friend Henry, but we also got people from around the venue to send in footage just from their phone, so we spliced it together from a load of crowd footage, and I just think it turned out really well. So, huge shout out to the live team. Small and mighty, only 3 of us on stage, Connor at front of house. It's not a big team, but it's a quality over quantity team. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Heavy. This is track 3. I feel really excited about this song at the moment because it was used in an ad, and that's never happened to me before. There's a BBC series called Normal People by an artist called Sally Rooney. I've got the book over there. And it's so cool, and they used Heavy in the ad. So it's the first time I've heard one of my songs just like in a weird context like that. So I want to play you the first voice memo. So again, it came from the idea day for the month of May, same sort of week as Did It To Myself. I wrote it at night, where all sad emotions really come to life. I wrote it on this keyboard. It was dark. I was sad. And I wrote this. I'll play you the voice memo. I think there's like a little bit of me like dropping the phone or something at the beginning. But let's just...
And now you moving on with your life. And did you find a job you like? I always thought you could do anything. And I've been running over all the things that I won't ever say to you. Like how I just wanna hang with you and watch grand designs. And I've been trying to train my mind to put you in another category.
So I think you can get the idea. It was
still not coming
sort of, it was definitely a ballady one. It was definitely a chilled one. It was definitely a sad one. And lyrically, it was hitting on what I wanted it to hit on. Was not really quite as dramatic as some of the other songs. I didn't want it to be like, oh my god, I'm hiding for you, I need you back now. I wanted it to be more like, you're right in the throes of the sadness. This is peak heaviness of the breakup stage. And I wanted it to be about being nostalgic for the little details of someone's life that you miss when you're not a part of it anymore. So, like, their mom, or their mom's dog, or their stripy t-shirts. It was kind of meant to be about those little details, and not about, oh my god, I missed this gaping hole that you've left in my life. It was more like, well, I don't know, I just miss like watching shit TV with you, and I miss like eating food with you, and I miss like waking up and having a lie-in and like you're there. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It was that level of detail I wanted to capture. So that's where I was at with it, and I knew I wanted to be revolve around the keys. I knew I wanted it to be a real piano, but that's really all I knew. And me and Tom, who I produced it with, we used his piano in his family house. Kept quiet about that one. This one day he was like, well, I've got a piano at home that we can use. And I was like, Tom, why aren't we there right now? Let's get there. So we went there, and we recorded it there. And it then lived as a vocal and piano for like 2 months, because I went on tour with my friend Dodie and Pete. And we went to the States, and we had the best time. And at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I've got this song. It's piano and vocal. I like it. It needs some special twinkling magic around it. Oh, not prize time anymore. It needs some magic. I want some like rumbling drama right under the keys. I want it to be like sitting here. I want it to be like, tell me I'm a best, but I want it to be like, you know, that's my synth impression. I want it to be like drama under the surface, something emotive. I want beautiful reverb happening right at the back of my head. This is what I'm thinking. So I told Dodie that I would love if she could write me a string part. I have never had strings on my song before. It was like the drums. It was just this amazing thing, but I didn't know how to write a string part. And Dodie is exceptional at it. The way her brain works with music is amazing. She thinks in harmony. She thinks in string parts and vocal parts. She thinks in main part, counterpart. She thinks of music in such a cool way. And I knew that she would nail it. And she absolutely did. So we were in a hotel somewhere hot, somewhere in the south, and about halfway through the tour. I've been bugging Dodie to see if she could write this string part for me, and she arranged it in MIDI. So she arranged it, well, she didn't actually even use one of these, but she could have. But she arranged it in a Logic session with fake strings first. And then we asked Sophie, who's Dodie's cellist, who was also on the tour with us, if she would mind playing the cello part, and I could record her there in a hotel room. And it didn't have to be the final take we used, but it might be a start. It would certainly bring the parts to life a little bit more than the digital strings were. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of us in that hotel room. I'm always so sad that I didn't record it, but it was amazing. It was this really sick moment where we were all super tired and we were all wrecked on tour, and on your days off you don't really want to do anything productive, but I was really glad that we had that day, because I just felt so full going to sleep, and I felt so excited about the song again. So yeah, and then Will, who's Dodie's violinist, Will Harvey, amazing strings player and arranger himself, he recorded a part too, but I didn't record him very well. It wasn't really the right mic, so we re-recorded his parts in London when we got back. And so what you're hearing in the song, in fact, how about we just pull the project open, because I have this one ready for you. Okay, let's do this. Hello. Okay, cool. So this is what you're looking at here. Whoops, is Logic. It is, that doesn't want to use its usual commands. What you're looking at here is Logic. It's a DAW. It's my DAW of choice. I think it's great. If you don't have this and you want to get something similar, GarageBand is remarkably similar. So if you're starting out and you can't afford Logic, just get that. And so I've grouped here with these very beautiful pictures the different things that are going on in this song. Now this is I'm gonna have to keep that on. This is a simplified version of the project. So in other words, a lot of the tracks are combined, but you'll still get a little bit of an idea what's going on, and I'll be able to solo some of the parts for you. So let's play it as we had it before I went to America. Let's solo. Maybe not solo, because I'm gonna have to solo myself. There we go. let's solo the lead vocal and the piano. Let's make that there. So this is what we had before anything went.
Do you think about me at night when the sky is losing a light? I swear my head fills up with memories every time.
Hello, there we go. So that's the state that we had it in. The piano was recorded nicely, the vocal sounded good, but what else was gonna be on there? Now I think this song, out of all the ones in the EP, is my favorite example of a track that really, really came to life and was so enhanced by the people I asked to help me with it. I wrote the song on my own, and it was good. I was really proud of it and happy with it. But me getting people like Tom involved to help pull the production together with me, my friend Nathan, he got the synths in. You're gonna play those in a sec, they're gorgeous. Sophie on the cello, Dodie writing the string part. It just took it up 15 notches, and I just think they all did an amazing job. So let me play a little bit else of what went on there. So are you really write solo things and talk at the same time? Okay, so let's play you some of these guitar and synth parts. These were recorded and in some cases written and all sort of arranged by Nathan Cox. Let's see what we've got going on. And some of these are modular synths played in by Tom. I'll show you a video in a sec of him playing the modular synth. It's a crazy looking thing. So these parts on their own, to me, are just so magic. They sound a little bit... Let's play when they're all in towards the end of the song. And then right towards the end, when the sub bass comes in, the kick comes in. To me, this was the twinkly magic that it needed to just lift it. It was so, so beautiful. These are a mix of all sorts of things. So like I said, Tom with the modular synth, and Nathan running some soft synths through a bunch of pedals, some delays and reverbs. They're so stunning. Another thing that Nathan's really amazing at is running vocals through different effects. There's a whole vocal verb channel here. If I just play this for you, it's crazy. It's not gonna be very...
How we drove up to her house, I'll never see that dog again.
In the track, it's barely audible, but you just hear it. It's like helicoptering around under the surface. It's kind of creating this crazy drama. There's very, very few drum parts going on in the song. It didn't need a full kit, but it did need a kick. It did need a nice kick, just driving it through towards the end, and we ended up putting a delay on it, which I loved. It sounded like this. And then it gets a little heavier towards the end, and then you hear the delay. And then suddenly, as soon as you put those ghost notes in the delay, filling it up, it suddenly doesn't need a snare. And actually this song is so it's so slow, really. I mean, it says 140, it could be half that, but it's so slow that as soon as you put a snare in, you put a folk in, it gets this sort of cheesy tempo, right? You can't be like, you know, as soon as you add the snare in, it becomes this sort of dad jam, and I'm not about that. So the only percussive elements are this kick to the delay, and then me slapping my thighs. That sounds a little bit like this. Come on, start slapping. Someone just said this sounds like a heartbeat, the kick. That's exactly what I wanted. That makes me very excited. So that's the only percussion going on. They only come in at the end. I'm so desperate to play this string part because it's stunning. So let's do that. Let's hear what the vocals actually sound at this point. There's not a huge amount of vocal parts in this song. I'm usually one for like doubling, tripling things, but I really held back in the verse and chorus, but there's a couple different parts that come in at the end. So we have...
Do you think about, do you think about it? Do you think about it too? Do you think about, do you think about, do you think about, do you think about it too? Do you think about, do you think about, do you think about it too?
Comes back to one voice. That's what I wanted it. I wanted it to feel like it was like here, and then it was like two. And then there's a couple harmonies in the chorus as well. Sound like this.
So tell me,
take the lead out.
Why this has to be so heavy? Tell me why this has to be.
I don't want the lead. Where are you?
'Cause I really thought that we'd be some exception to the rule, but honestly, I think it has to be this heavy.
It's just a couple harmonies on the da da, mainly on the stabs. But yeah, very much a simple vocal arrangement, I think. Let's play these strings. I just think this is one of the coolest elements of this song. I'm going to play the whole outro of all the string parts together. This is Sophie on the cello in the hotel room playing about 3 or 4 different parts, and then Will Harvey on the violin layering up a ton of other parts. So there's only 2 of them, but they made it sound so full and amazing. And this is Dodie's arrangement. Let's play it. It's good to go. Oh my god. Just inject that in my veins. My favorite part of all is this cello part. Come on, stick with me. This cello part, my god. I'm always like, Sophie, do you not feel so powerful playing the low notes? It's just hits me in the chest. So huge shout out to Dodie for writing the strings for this. I hope we can do more things like this in the future, because it makes me very happy to collaborate with people who are so talented. So that's heavy. I think I have a little bit of studio footage to play you from this one, and then we'll move on to the next song. Okay, I'm gonna disappear for a sec. Okay, so here's a little bit of just a little bit of heavy footage. I talked about Tom, my co-producer, on the modular synth. That is not a synth as I would think of it with a keyboard on it. It's a big old mess of wires, and it's doing some crazy things. When I talk about Tom being a geek, this is what I mean. So you'll see him mucking around with a couple of the really atmospheric parts in the modular, and you'll also see a clip of Will playing the violin part. Yeah, and it's here we go.
It's a dodgy cable.
Beautiful. What a bunch. What a bunch of unbelievably talented people. So that is Heavy. A very nostalgic song about missing the little things about a relationship. Yeah, I'm definitely proud of that one. And like I was saying about all shades of emotion, I feel like in a way this kind of shouldn't sit on the same EP as a song like Figured Out, but I like that it does. And I think I've never had a full-length album to my frustration, and maybe yours as well, though I am working on one. But what I love about a full-length album from artists that I love is being able to show this light and shade, right? It's showing 12 tracks, or 10 even, or more, and it's showing you like singles that are like more obvious, more immediate, and like let's go, and they're catchy or whatever. But then you got the sad ballady ones, maybe you got some just more chilled ones. Then you got the weird album tracks, you got all these ones in between that you're like, I would never pick this as a single. I don't even know what this is, and it's somehow my favorite one. And I think you don't get the full breadth of that without a big body of work. And I guess what I wanted to do, even though I knew this would only be 5 songs, I wanted to try and capture as much of that diversity and dynamic change, but instead of in 12 tracks within 5. And so that's why I think, ironically, I think in trying to make songs that were so extremely different, I think I created what was actually the most cohesive bunch of songs I ever had. But that's probably just because they were written around the same time, made with the same people, which I think goes a long way. All right, let's move on to Oh God. My favorite song on the EP, I'm going to say it. It's definitely my favorite. And it's another one that came from... Whoa, let's screen share. It's another one that came from the... oh, no, just renaming things now. It came from this Idea Day for the month of May. So anyone that's in my Secret Demo Club heard a very early version of this last May. And if anyone wants to join my Secret Demo Club, the link is in the description of this video. It's where I share early versions, sometimes voice memos of songs that then sort of go on to sometimes just live in that form forever or go on to become bigger things. And so I had this idea, and I'm going to play it for you as I had it. Yeah, let's find that. So this is the very first version of Oh God.
I look at you and I know how I felt all those summers ago. Then I swore not to tell. Oh, I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt. Oh God. Oh God. If I always do what I'm told, I'll be bitter at 50 years old. Oh, I wasted my youth, wasted my time, wasted my worry on the little things. If you always just laugh it off, I won't be opening up. We kissed on the bed and messed with my head. Does that mean nothing to you? I look at you and I know how I felt all those summers ago. Then I swore not to tell. Oh, I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt.
Yeah,
oh,
so
God.
pretty different. The fundamentals were there. I knew at that point that I wanted to have this weird time signature switch up. There's a couple of sounds in that first demo that did make it in. I'll open up the session now and show you which ones. This one theme-wise is super different from the others. It does, yeah, it variates in that sense. It definitely feels like it's a little bit about the person that the rest of it is, but I think it's different as well. It's a song about, oh, I know my dad is watching. It's a song about sex. It's a song about shame. It's a song about being brought up in a super Catholic school and having to, I had nuns in my school. I had a convent on the site. It was pretty Catholic, and I just feel like a lot of people, like I had really attached shame to a lot of these things, to things like sex, to things like liking girls. Like there's just shame sort of inherently attached, and then you see the world in that lens. And so this song for me is about trying to detach any of that shame and trying to be almost like liberated from it, but in my own very awkward way. So I had this song, I brought it into Tom again in his studio, we worked on it together. Let's have a look at some of this footage, and then we'll look at the session.
right?
So actually, let me explain this before we go in. I recorded the bass part, it was like resonating in a weird way, and basically I was recording the bass part, and it meant that Tom had to like hold the very top of the neck of the bass, so that didn't like resonate and buzz. So this is true teamwork in its purest form from me and Tom. So here's a little bit of studio footage from Oh God.
So I need to just unmute the A, right?
Just A. Oh God.
I look at you and I know how I felt all those summers ago. Then I swore not to tell. Oh, I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt. Oh God.
That's like, no.
Again, you can see I was pretty excited about that drum day. So we had a lot of fun bringing this into life. It was interesting seeing which parts of my original demo made it into the final one. There was a couple that felt like we could just bring them right across, and then a lot of things we re-recorded. So let me just find this session and pull it up, and just like we did with Heavy, have a look at exactly what's going on in there. Okay, so this is the Oh God session. A bit like the Heavy session, it's a bit of a simplified version. So here I've grouped everything for ease, but I can collapse all of these and they have a lot more things within them. So yeah, let me think of what was actually in my original demo. Which made it in? Well, do you know what I know? I remember one thing that we stuck with was this. It was this part. I've written it here as guitar riff, but it's a bass. It's a bass. And I'm going to say one of my only regrets about this EP, and something I really learned, is I feel like when it comes to my production, I have a real tendency to turn things down. Just keep turning things down until it's all very quiet, and then you have to bring the whole thing up. I wish I was braver in the mix of this song, specifically with this, because I don't feel you can hear it enough in the song. It's the part I play live. I really love it, and yet when we were in the mixing stage, I kept bringing it down. And I think that's a real shame. I think it's very hard when it's your stuff, especially when it's something that was in the song from the beginning, to really have any perspective. But months later, I wish it was a little bit louder, but you live and learn. So this song is very bass heavy, so I put bass at the top. And yeah, let's have a listen to this bass part, as you saw recorded by me with Tom holding the top. The bass is taking up a lot of space in this verse. It has to, because there's actually very little in the mid-range. So if you can imagine an EQ band, why would you be able to imagine an EQ band? Let me find you one. A lot of what as I learn more and more about production, is figuring out where stuff should sit in something like this. So maybe sort of hard to see, but if you can imagine, this is a plugin. In fact, it would be much easier to bring it up here. So here is is EQ that I can put on any of my channels. And if you imagine certain things live in different areas of this world, right? So bass lives down here. Basses and kick drums and low rumbly things live here. Then this is your mid-range. I'm talking vocals, I'm talking guitars, I'm talking keys. And then up here, you've got the bright things, the high things. You got your hi-hats, you got your violins, you got your So here's some weird sound effects. Here, here, and here. So that's a very strange mention of EQ. But the bass here, naturally the bass lives in this low rumbly world, but you can't really hear bass if you listen to songs through your laptop speakers, for example. So in this, we had to sort of distort the bass in such a way that it filled up a little bit more of the mid-range, because there's no guitars doing that, which in another song might be the case. So the bass part's really important and very integral to the whole thing. Yeah, let's just have a little listen to this verse.
I wasted my youth, wasted my time, wasted my worry on the little things. If you always just laugh it off, oh, I won't be opening up. We kissed on the bed, messed in my head. Does that mean nothing to you?
So that's everything, sort of minus percussion. Someone said, can you play the bass with the EQ up? Yeah, sure.
Oh God. If I always do what I'm told.
Low, rumbly goodness right here. So this is what I'm talking about, but we have to try and make the bass in this case have a little bit more of this goodness, this mid-range stuff. So yeah, I think so much as I learn more about production and having it all sit into place is making sure you have a bunch of sounds smattered across this thing, and I think the interaction, the balance of all those is pretty important. Let's listen to what's going on drum-wise. This was so fun to record drums for. There's no live drums though in the verses. There's just a lot of clicks and pops and weird percussion. So let's have a listen to what's going on there.
Catholic guilt, oh God.
A lot of people have asked me, what is the bicycle bell? It's a sound from the OP1. I don't have it with me, but it's an amazing, cool synth made by a Swedish company called Teenage Engineering. That little ding ding is just a sound from there. That was on the original demo too. Yeah, very, very bare percussion-wise in the verse, kicks and snaps, basically. But I think the interaction between all of them, and I just love the space in it. You know, there's a lot of artists that I love where I feel the space and how minimal everything is everything. And I think that comes right back to artists like Lorde. A lot of the time I just think of Pure Heroin and I think of that album and the space between things, and I think myself and a lot of artists were very into that. So that's what's going on in the verse, and then we get to the chorus and it sounds like this. And again, this is what I'm talking about, these huge dynamic jumps that I wanted. I want the verse to sit here, not on like Figure It Out. Verse is here, but I want to get into the chorus and I want it to be like, bam! I don't want it to be like a meager jump. I want it to be like, rah! And so I think we achieved that here. I want to talk just for a second about the time signature in this song. So when we are, I wonder if you'll be able to hear the click. Can you guys tell me if you can hear this? Or no? Did you hear silence or? Yes. Okay, cool. So, right, what I mean, so when we're recording things, anyone that records knows this, it makes life so much easier for everyone to record on the click. This click is in our in-ears when we play live. It's when you're recording guitars. It's when you're recording vocals. It's, oh, someone said silence. One sound and then just silence. Oh, 2 clicks, that's it. Okay, no worries, you can't hear the click. Okay, so I'm going to sing the click for you. It's going to be very exciting. Here we go.
I look at you and I know how I felt all those summers ago. Then I swore not to tell. I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt, oh God.
That's what the click would do. Pretty exciting, I know. So here it's going, it says 3/4 in this project, but it could be really 6/8. And so that click is what you're hearing when you're recording everything. It keeps everything in time with itself. Unless you're recording a big old band that's all one take, you're pretty much looking at being locked to the click, and it can be an inconvenience at times. Oh, someone said you can't hear me. Is that true? We can't hear you. Oh, I think you're a second behind everyone else. I feel like you can hear me now. Oh, we couldn't hear you when you were doing it. Okay, just wait, guys. This is worth hearing.
I'm swallowed up.
When I say it's worth hearing, it's really not.
Swore not to tell.
Okay, here we go.
I'm swallowed up by
ready?
this Catholic guilt, oh God. Oh God.
There we go. Pretty exciting. Anyway, this click is keeping it together as you record the music. This song is, I'm thinking of it in counts of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it changes. Then we get to the chorus and it goes to 5/4 in this case, or 5/8, depending in how you're counting it. I will say at this point, music theory is not my strong point. It's not something I've ever had any formal education in. It's not something that it excites me to a point. Sometimes I think, of course, I wish I knew more about it, but so there are times where I feel like the gaps in my music knowledge are what keeps certain things quite exciting for me. Sometimes I do a chord change or write something and I'm like, I don't even know why this is good, but it just is. And I kind of like the naivety that comes with this. But of course, there are times I'd love to understand it better, and so that's a process for me. But a bit like Figure It Out being in 6/8, it's just more about what serves the song. You don't do things to try and be interesting. I don't do things to try and be interesting, try to be different. It's just that when I wrote this song, it was, whoa, so angry at my guitar. When I wrote the song, it was just in that count. So it had to be, lucky you and unknown. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's happening in numbers. Whoops. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the chorus, for whatever reason, right from the beginning, right from the first demo, it was in 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't know why, just was. We stuck to it, and I'm glad that we did. So, get ready for this performance of the click live from me, going into the pre. From the pre into the chorus, and I'll show you what you mean. So the numbers of beats that you're counting in change, and it's weird. A lot of people ask me, why is this chorus hard to dance to? I notice it live. Everyone doesn't really know what to do with themselves. It's not like a nice 4 where you're like, and you're like, here we go, up in the club, 4 to the floor. You hear the 5 and you're like, dun 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 dun. It's not really sort of jumping. Your body doesn't really know what to do with it, and I quite like that. Okay, it's cool. So live performance of the click. Here we go.
By this Catholic guilt, oh God.
Oh, wait, gotta give myself a little run in.
Swore not to tell. I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt, oh God. I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think about it.
You know? I feel like I'm a dolphin. So Yeah, someone said the dancing makes people as uncomfortable as the topic. Yes, that was something I thought about, and I like that fact. So the tongue seizure, yeah, that felt like that's what it was. So yeah, I like that it does that. I think it's weird. Let's listen to the drums. We've got live kit going on, some samples that me and Tom programmed, and a mix, and I think it sounds sick.
I'm swallowed up by
Where are you? Here we go. And then it goes to the ride. You'll see what I mean. So right at the end, it's like you're playing the whole kit. How can I give it any more? I'm really bashing it, and it's like, oh, just go with the ride. You'll hear what I mean. You hear the moment that it. Some says kind of sounds like breathing. Yes, there's a breath sample on the kick. Let's find it. Where are you? So anyone that's recorded drums will know that you've got a bunch of microphones all over the drum kit. So what you end up with is loads of versions of the same things, but sort of recording different things closer. So you've got a mic on the snare, mic on the kick, mic on the tom, mic on the hat. But then you've also got the room mics capturing the whole kit. And so you end up with a lot of drum stems. Here is the kick. I think this has the kind of breath sound on it. Not on every single one. Just taking a breath for 3 times, then taking a break. So that is what's going on drum-wise. Yeah, I usually don't like crash cymbals, but they're sort of required for this.
Catholic guilt.
It's very hard to get the impact without a crash. Couple synths going on in this, not a huge amount. They'll be quite quiet for you to hear, but I'll play you a little bit. Mainly low, rumbly, fun, modular stuff that Tom did. Let's have a listen to what's going on here. That's a sound from my sample pack. Someone said on the YouTube chat, where do I get it? It's on a website called Splice. I wanted to hide that in the EP somewhere as sort of a musical treasure hunt, so that's where it is. Also, I don't know why that's on the synth channel. That's a little bit of cafe noise you can hear. We wanted a little bit of ambient that sort of cut in a bit like white noise in the verses. So you can actually hear that here if I go back. I love that sound at the end. That's a good sound. There are a couple interweaving guitar parts in the song as well. The main guitar part and the lead part I play live is just one note. It's just on the E string, and I'm literally going with a bunch of distortion. And that sounds like this. Oh, yeah, so that is... I like the combination of those guitar parts. They're sort of angular, I guess, given the 5/4 thing, and I like how they interact with each other, and I like yeah, there's just something cool about counterparts, about having one part that's what you need it to be, and then this other thing that happens, and then it changes the first thing. There's a lot of that going on in the CP, actually. Actually, if I just pull up the heavy session quickly, I'll show you a version of this happening in heavy, which I really like, is the 2 piano parts at the end. You just got one piano part, and then a counterpart, and then it changes the first part. So I'll play the first one. Okay, back to this one. But yeah, that's what I mean about counterparts. That's all over the CP. One main part, usually the one I'm playing, but then something else that's happening. It's changing the first part. It's interacting with it. Sometimes it's matching up. Sometimes it's going against. That's happening in vocals. That's happening in guitars. It's happening in pianos and heavy. It's just having another part, counterpart as I call it. I don't know if that's the right word, but just another thing that sort of changes it. Someone said, can you play the beginning of... Why are there 2 sound waves on the Logic tracks? Because they're stereo. Because they're stereo. If they were mono, it would just be 1 here. Someone said, can you play the beginning of the chorus without the crash cymbal? Yeah, let's actually see what the crash cymbal is doing and what it would be like without it. I mean, will it work? Tune in next time to find out. So here's the crashes. Let's mute them. Okay, beginning of it without the crash sounds like this.
For not to tell, I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt. Oh God, I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think about it.
Weird. That's so weird.
For not to tell, I'm swallowed up by this Catholic guilt. Oh God, I don't wanna think about it. I don't wanna think.
Sometimes you need something as obvious. Sorry, I realized that the crash is extremely loud. Sometimes you need something as visceral as a big old crash cymbal. Okay, cool. Someone said let's do, what's the blip pinky thing? Oh, are you talking about this? This is me maxing my volume out on Logic and playing it for you way too loud. Okay, cool. Let's do some prizes, guys. Let's go back to this one. Let's do some prizes. You got 2 to pick from. Put it in the chat, people. Tell me blueberry or crisp. Put it in the chat and I will decide the winner. I'm definitely seeing more for blueberry. Okay, whoever I pick next for the prize draw will win whatever's in this box. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get this back on. Okay, I think I've clicked one. Nope, I didn't pick one. Let's go again. I didn't actually click an email. Okay. Here we go. Brianne Shell. Brianne Chell? I'm going to say Chell. C-H-E-L-L. Brianne Chell. Whoa, that is not what I wanted to happen. Brianne, you have won. And you have won whatever's in this weird box of blueberry wheats, which actually has a Weetabix box inside it. Crazy. Okay, let's see what you've won. Fantastic. My friend, you have won the one and only Broken Heart stamp. It's yours, Brianne. You can stamp your face, stamp your friend's face, stamp your family's face, and I will also send you this little print, and maybe you could put it in a frame, do something fun with it. I'll sign it for you as well. So I'll get in touch with you via your PayPal address. We're gonna do one more prize on the show. Running pretty late. This is a long one. Let's do new friends, and then we'll crack on, and I'll take a couple questions after that. Okay, cool. Right, let's do new friends. I don't have a huge amount to say on this one because it's a really simple song. It's a really simple song. And have I shown you everything for Oh God? I have. So I needed a final song. I needed a final song for my EP, something to complete the set. I knew I wanted it to be pretty stripped. I knew I wanted it to be acoustic. I didn't really know what feeling I wanted it to have, but this was the last song. A little bit like I did it to myself was the first one I wrote. New Friends was the last one I wrote, and I liked that sense of it being chronological. And I liked the idea of having a song that captured the time that had passed. I think the drama in Did It To Myself lyrically is, oh my God, I'm in this, I'm so sad, oh my God, what have I done, oh my God, it's like heightened. By the time you move through the EP and you get to New Friends, you're sort of comfortable with what's happened. And it's a little bit more wistful, and it's a little bit more, oh, that's a shame. It's not heavy, you're in it. Tell me what it has to be. You're like, oh my God, what have I done? It's still like so sad, you're still in the throes of it. But I feel, whoa, other song that just started playing. I feel like by the time you get to this guy, the vibe is more like you're curious about what they're up to, but you don't need to know. Time has passed. That's what I wanted to capture with this. Time has passed, drama has dried up, and it's a little bit more like, I'm just wondering what you're doing now, and I'm wondering if you have a new job or a new group of friends. I'm curious. I'm not emotional about it, I'm just curious. And so I wanted to have something very matter-of-fact lyrically. So that was New Friends. I wrote it, I'll show you actually, I've got a picture of exactly where I recorded this song. And I recorded it on the tour bus, on Dodie's tour bus. I set up like a little station here. That's the OP1 there, that's that synth I was talking about, so that little sound and Oh God comes from that. I've got a really unbelievably large bottle of Sunny D, which was just, I was high on sugar, clearly. And I set up my mic there, the same one as I have here, there on the table. The bus had really, really high, like the aircon was like, so I turned off the aircon. We were in a super hot place. We were in Texas, a place called Amarillo, famous for where Sweet Maria waits for you. And it was unbelievably hot, but I really needed it to be quieter. So I turned the aircon off and just sweated on this bus for an hour or two while I recorded this over and over. And it's interesting. I mean, if you listen to the song, you can hear the rumble of the bus. I did a little bit of work to denoise it. It's kind of easy to get rid of high-end noise on a track, like, and stuff that's happening up there. It's kind of easy to sort of EQ that out. But it's not as easy when it's like low rumbly stuff and the engine was like brr, 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 brr. But you can hear it in the track, and there came a point where it just didn't bother me anymore. I quite liked that it gave it a sense of setting. And yeah, I really like the chords in the song. I find the chorus quite fun. You seem to be alright. I'll pretend I did it, but it did. I did that month with some group, but got hard and wrote a song about it. Yeah, I like those chords, and I like this song. One thing I wanted to quickly do, because I don't have a huge amount of stuff to show you around New Friends, it was kind of a pretty basic one, a pretty simple one to record. But what I do want to play you is the song that didn't make it into Freckle Season. I've played it on a live stream before, but now that we've gone through the others, I want to play the one that was almost going to be on there instead of New Friends. It was similar in some ways and different in others. It was a song called Don't Fall in Love with a Musician. And a bit like someone asked right at the beginning of the stream, like, do you feel guilty for writing so viscerally about someone? Is there any guilt to be felt there? And I was feeling like there very much was. And so this song was riddled with guilt. This song was all about feeling guilty, and it was borderline an apology, or at least an acknowledgement of how violated someone could feel. Yeah, it's kind of a short song, but I'll just quickly play it for you. And this is the song that didn't make it on, the deleted scene. It's called Don't Fall in Love with the Musician. Don't fall in love with the musician. Such a good idea at the time. Oh, they'll get you in a comfortable position, and then you proceed to ruin your life. The passion and rage as you stand side a stage. They'll even title a song with your name. Oh, don't fall in love with a musician. It's not worth the pain. Don't fall in love with the musician. I know it's exciting at first, but he'll get you in a comfortable position. Then you fear the worst. He falls to his knees. He's begging you, please. Tells you he knows that a line has been crossed. Yes, he's cheated on you, but it's just not his fault. He's so lost. Ooh, 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 ooh. Don't fall in love with a musician. 'Cause what I've done to you, it feels wrong. Oh, songs about you are a violation when you don't get a chance to respond. Oh, I took your heartbreak, used it for art's sake. And it's okay to think all this is strange. Oh, don't fall in love with a musician. They're all just the same. Oh, don't fall in love with a musician. We're not worth the pain. Not worth the pain. So that's the song that didn't make it on. Why didn't I pick it? I mean, there were similar songs in that. They were both stripped. They were both honest. They were both, going to be solo live. They both could have been that last song on the set with that little, they both served the same purpose. They sat in the same space, but they were totally different tone-wise. And this one was obviously a little bit more lighthearted. And I thought it could be cool live. I'm excited to play this live at some point because I think it's kind of funny. But I didn't want to undermine the previous songs by whacking this thing on the end. It's like, well, sorry. And I did felt that it undermined it a little bit. But I think the last verse is basically the root of the song and what I wanted to say. What I've done to you feels wrong. Songs about you are a violation when you don't get a chance to respond. I took your heartbreak, used it for art's sake. I sort of liked the idea of rounding all this up with this almost overly self-aware moment. But I'm also glad that I picked New Friends. It just felt like the right ending for it. But it was a very close contender for this one. And I have a plan for this song. I have recorded this one as well. So I'll tell you all about that very soon. Also, I completely forgot to tell you earlier. Because I'm doing this deep dive, I thought I would give you guys a discount if you want to get a, where are they at? Did I put them back in the... Oh. If you would like to own a Freckle Season EP, there's a couple left on my store. Not a huge amount. And I don't really know when. Wow, cool. Welcome to Fuzztown. I don't know when there will be another batch, but there's a couple of these left. And if you want to own one, I'm going to run a discount on there. I've already set it up for you. If you go onto my merch store, the link's in the description of this YouTube video. And if you buy one of these in the next 2 days from the beginning of the show, type in the promo code indoor season, all one word, indoor season, and I think you get 15% off. Yeah, it's 15% for the code indoor season, just on the EP. If you want to own one and you haven't bought one and you want to now, you can. Someone said a round of applause for your Ethernet cable. I agree, guys. This is so super smooth. I'm basically living in your room right now. Look, tech queen with my Ethernet cable. Cool. Wicked. All right, let's do the last prize, guys. There's no, it's upside down. Could this be any more bootleg? No. Who will win this prize in the pecan and maple crisp? You know what? I'm gonna make this a little sweeter for someone because I realized I have one more Lonely People EP. I'll admit it's a little scuffed. It is absolutely my last one. I had two, then I gave me one, but now you can have this as well. So let's pick who's gonna win it. Okay, here we go. I think I've picked someone. Okay, wow, what a name. Marieke van Kempen. Let me type your name. I'm so sorry. I feel like I butcher people's names. What a cool name. Marieke van Kempen. Woo! You are the winner, my friend, of, let's recap the prizes for you. You get a print, a Freckle Season print. You get a Freckle Season t-shirt, which looks like this. I don't have it with me. They didn't send it. I didn't get it on time. It wasn't even their fault. And the last ever Lonely People EP in my possession from 2015. I hope you take better care of it than I have. That's for you. Thank you so much to everyone who entered at any amount. I used that money for more recording, more mixing, more music videos, more things. My next thing I'm going to make will be thanks to you. So even if you haven't got a prize, you've helped contribute in a big way, and I'm very grateful. Cool. Wicked. Guys, I've been streaming for 2 hours. I had a couple more things I wanted to show you about the visuals and the artwork, but I think 2 hours is more than enough. Let me just see what I had. I wonder if I could just skip through it. Yeah, let me quickly, very last thing, let's talk a little bit about the Broken Heart stamps. What was the situation with them? I've even got a ring. This was a weird coincidence, actually. My publisher found it in a shop and she was like, that's crazy, it's like your stamp. Until the Why Am I Like This EP, I really didn't take any pleasure in the visuals of something, you know. It just wasn't my kind of thing. It was just an afterthought. I was just all about the music, and then I guess I gotta do music videos and artwork for it and press shots, whatever. But Why Am I Like This EP, when we did the yearbook photos, it was the first time I took real pleasure in the visual side of it, and I put effort in, and I felt like I really enjoyed it. And so I carried that through with Freckle Season. Demi Whiffen, huge shout out. She's across all of the art design on this EP. And she helped me put together a Pinterest board of things. We found this girl, not this girl, but a girl, with her face smushed up against the glass. And one thing I really love, there's an artist called Chelsea Jade. She's from New Zealand. She has a couple of music videos where her face is being pulled and distorted, and I hate the idea that a girl in pop has to be super pretty and polished all the time. That's just not really my vibe. So I liked the idea of just I don't know, just being a bit weird and not being afraid to be a bit ugly and gross at times, you know. My eyes on the back, my big old sweaty eyes smushed against some glass. I didn't want it to be like too pretty. So we had this idea, and then I wanted to incorporate in this broken heart stamp as well. And let me, I wonder if I have these pictures. Yeah, let me quickly share my screen. I've got a couple things here. So yeah, I became obsessed with this heart thing, and I just wanted to put it everywhere on your face. I wanted it to put it. This is such an amazing picture from Scala. I love that, of you getting it in the crowd. I put it on my t-shirt. We put it on the drum skin. Oh, there it is on the artwork. Yeah, I just liked the idea of picking a thing and putting it everywhere. And what could be more simple than a broken heart? That's where it came from. And so me and Demi made, you know, she designed the actual stamp. We made that physical rubber thing. We put it in a bunch of places. We put it on t-shirts. We put it all over the place. And so it was just about picking something and kind of committing to it and having an emblem that appeared again and again, whether it was just Easter eggs in the music videos. And I think those of you who are more attentive noticed, and I thought that was very cool. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit about the only music video I'll talk about is the Did It To Myself one. You can see here, I think I have it here. Here's a quick little behind the scenes from this video. This was the one where we put the broken heart stamps all over me, and it was meant to be just people coming in and out of your life and just leaving an impression, and you just ending up being this big old mess. So here's a little bit of the Did It To Myself behind the scenes.
That's good because it looks like you might be Rihanna.
So yeah, as you can see, we did a classic old music video trick, which is miming the song at, I don't think it was double speed, it was probably 1.5, which is how you get that thing where when you sync it back into regular speed, it looks like everyone's moving in slow motion. So we did that same thing here, which was cool. But yeah, it was a bunch of friends. It was directed by Zoe Alker, who's the girl you can hear at the beginning saying, looks like you could be Rihanna. She's amazing. She also directed the Figured Out video, and she's just, I feel so lucky to have met her. I feel like she's a huge puzzle piece in the visuals of the Freckle Season EP, and I'm very excited to see what she does next, and I'd love to work with her again on something. I just thought she was the bomb. Amazing ideas person. Okay, cool. Let's take a couple questions, and then I'll love you and leave you. I think that's a pretty deep dive. Don't know what that was that I just did. Cool. Taking a couple of questions from the chat, and then I'll say goodnight. OMG, close your blinds. Oh yeah, people are gonna be like, what is she doing up there? She's such a tech queen. Ooh, someone's asked a question about new friends, and it looks very technical. Struggling with the rhythm, is it 4/4? Yes, it is 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Someone said, would you release stems for a song? That's not a bad idea. Maybe something while I roll in lockdown. Might be something I do in the Secret Demo Club. I'll get a conversation happening there about what one might be good to give stems for. I think that would be cool if I could. What would be your best advice to an indie artist who want to grow her audience? I think there's a huge amount of luck involved, which I think is really annoying and not really advice, but I think it's just a fact. Just stay as true to yourself as you can. Don't really bother trying to be anyone else in an obvious way because people find out. Platforms are changing. Go on TikTok. I feel like a boomer on TikTok, but maybe you'll be good on TikTok. Please, can you finish by playing New Friends in full? Yeah, go on. I'll play that after these questions. I'm trying to prioritize Freckle Season questions. Favorite lyric on the EP? Probably the song, the lyric about the dog and heavy. I do like that one. I'll never see that dog again. Everyone always thought it was I'll never see that door again. And I was like, what are you talking about? Musical inspirations making this EP. Good one. I tried not to too closely reference anyone in particular, but of course influences crept up. I think St. Vincent was a big one for Oh Gods. I think Phoebe Bridgers was a big one for Heavy. I think Haim, I've always been an inspiration for something folkier like New Friends. A little bit of Laura Marling. I don't think it's hugely like her, but I really, really love her. I always have. Yeah, I think it's a couple of really, really great, a couple of bands, but mainly, yeah, some really strong solo musicians. Regina Spektor, I don't think musically is like necessarily there, but I think there's a touch of even sort of London grammar in Heavy. But yeah, a lot of strong, amazing women. Favorite contribution from someone else on the EP? Ugh, huge question. Maybe Dodie's strings, maybe David Dyson's drums. Tom did so much, it's very hard to pick. But probably Dodie's strings. I think that sort of surprised me in a way that I didn't think I would be an artist that had strings on a song, so I think that really for me has been a huge moment. Do you think playing the fiddle as a child influenced your music in any way today? Not in a super obvious way. I think it gave me a good ear, and it gave me a good encouragement to crack on even when you don't know what you're doing musically. I learned fiddle in such a haphazard way, writing out the actual letters, never learned to play off a stave. And so I think for better or worse, I've carried through that sense of just like absolute chaotic lack of musical knowledge, but sort of cracking on and understanding what I do understand well and having a good ear, I think. So I think, yeah, but not, I don't think there's like a lot of Celtic stuff. I think I'm re-appreciating Celtic and Irish music, in particular, maybe not Celtic, but I'm really appreciating older Irish bands now more than ever, and I don't think I did when I was a child. Sinead O'Connor, the Cranberries. Okay, there's so many questions and I really wish I could answer them all. Maybe I'll have a little Q&A, an extra Q&A on Patreon if anyone wants to leave some questions there. How do you go through naming an EP? Why is it called Freckle Season? That's a good one to end on. It's called Freckle Season because it was the summer when we wrote and recorded it, and I wanted it to kind of be a cute name for a not so cute time. I wanted it to be a sunny, light name for what was actually kind of a heavy time. Also, I've always been really obsessed with the passing of time and how our bodies measure it. I always say this to people and they think I'm really weird. Every single time I cut my nails, maybe not so much in lockdown, but pre-lockdown life, I cut my nails and I always think, what have I achieved since the last time I cut my nails? Weird. But I just think it's not like a day or a week or a month. It's just like this weird immeasurable thing you don't really notice until it comes around again. Same with cutting your hair or something. So I get super freckly in summer. There's just something that pop up and I'm like, oh, I'm super freckly. You're like, oh, my freckles are kind of gone. And I think I liked Freckle Season as a way of summarizing this passing of time. By the time I got from song 1 to song 5, I was like, oh, I'm kind of not quite over this, but I'm really moving through it. I'm moving through this season, this spell. So Freckle Season to me was this all-encompassing name for this slightly weird time and coming out the other end. Okay, cool. I'm going to end with a little bit of New Friends because it's one I can just play for you here. And then I'll say thank you for being my friend. Here's New Friends. Someone said, what's my Patreon? It's in my description of the live. I don't like that one. Hey Drew. Whoa, what a fantastic name for me to time for me to forget the
No. Take your hurting heart, throw it in my face. God, I hate this part. Let's go for coffee. You can tell me how it's all my fault. We've been out on tour, how is London town? It's so stupid hot in Texas now. It's hard to breathe, though I'm not built to try and carry all this guilt you gave me. Lauren said you were working at the bar, pulling pints for rich guys, wishing on a star. Now you've got new friends, oh I don't doubt it, but to them I'm just some girl who broke your heart and wrote a song about it. Yeah, I totally did mess up the first verse, didn't I? We've been out on tour, how is London town? It's so stupid hot in Texas now. It's hard to breathe, though I'm not built to try and carry all this guilt you gave me. And I know when I'm home, I'm bound to see you somewhere, but you'll keep working. You owe me nothing, but it'll kill me right there. I'd rather scream it at the wall than not say it at all. I miss you. And Marcus said, well, you seem to be alright. I'll pretend I don't care, but it keeps me up at night. And you've got new friends, oh I don't doubt it, but to them I'm just some girl who broke your heart and wrote a song about it. Oh, I've got new friends, just to let you know, but to them I'm just some girl who broke your... Oh, I'm so distracted by your comments. I got the lyrics wrong, guys. Ask me to turn my mic up. Now I've got new friends, just to let you know, but to them you're just some guy who lost his mind and took a while to let go. That's me, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting me and Freckle Season, and I'll see you very soon. Lots of love.